But we begin with dramatic new developments breaking tonight in the political firestorm over what critics are calling President Obama's illegal decision to release dangerous terrorists captured by our troops. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. We have watched a series of nonstop revelations unfold all day, following the president's decision to release 5 dangerous terrorists in exchange for Sergeant Bo Bergdahl, an American soldier held as a captive after he reportedly walked off of his Afghan base more than 5 years ago, calling America a horror. The day started today with the president himself admitting the men he released without consulting Congress could absolutely pose a threat to the United States.
In terms of potential threats, the release of the Taliban who were being held in Guantanamo was conditioned on the Qataris keeping eyes on them. Is there the possibility of some of them trying to return to activities that are detrimental to us? Absolutely.
As far as the Qataris, we heard new reporting today that the terrorists can roam around the country of Qatar at will. And this is the nation where the Taliban literally keeps an office in the capital city. By the way, they're only supposed to be monitored for a year. Next, the Senate Intel Committee met behind closed doors to learn more about Sergeant Bergdahl. Fox News confirming with sources this morning that when Bergdahl left his base, he left a note, this is right before his capture, expressing disillusionment with the Army, disillusioned with being an American, and suggestions that he wanted to renounce his American citizenship and to go find the Taliban. We reported similar concerns when we interviewed 2 soldiers last night who served with Bergdahl in Afghanistan in his platoon. Cody, do you believe that Bo Bergdahl served the United States with honor and distinction, as she said?
He did not serve the United States with honor. We all took an oath. He violated his oath when he deserted us and put other Americans in jeopardy.
I just don't want to see him hailed as a hero, and I just want him to face the consequences of his own actions and possibly face a court-martial for desertion.
We hope to learn more about all of this in moments when we speak with Senator Saxby Chambliss. He's the top Republican on the Senate Intel Committee. Andy McCarthy is also here to talk about whether the president's actions could amount to an impeachable offense. Plus, best-selling author Brad Thor is here with some unique details from his sources in Afghanistan and the U.S. military. But first, in a stunning development late today, the president's State Department appeared to challenge those 2 soldiers you just heard from, suggesting that those men and others like them are misleading the American public about Sergeant Bo Bergdahl and his action in Afghanistan. Here is Fox News producer Luke Tomlinson questioning State.
Does the State Department consider Sergeant Bergdahl to be a deserter?
The State Department, no, Lucas. Look, what we've said is we are going to learn the facts about what happened here.
According to those around him, his platoon mates, his squad mates, company mates, they said he walked off
some
the
of
base.
them, there are conflicting reports out there about this.
The guys on national television last night, his squad mates, platoon mates, were not correct.
I'm saying we don't know the fact pattern yet here. We don't. Nobody knows exactly what happened that night.
Well, I think his squad mates have the best indication what happened that night.
I don't think that's the case.
They don't have the best information? Joining me now is Fox News strategic analyst Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. Ralph, I know that you say you have never witnessed such outrage from our troops. The State Department's unwillingness to at least give the servicemen who served with Bo Bergdahl their due probably won't help.
Well, Megyn, what you just saw and heard was Benghazi 2.0. A political flunky in the State Department insisting that she knows better what happened on the ground than the soldiers in the front line or the people in a firefight. The arrogance is boundless. And, you know, I wish the Obama administration, if it can't have the grace to be decent about anything else, at least stop insulting our troops. I mean, she called those soldiers from the front lines liars. And by the way, she's the liar. Because I can tell you from the first days, for the first hours, the military knew exactly what Bergdahl's status was, and I have never heard of or seen any report to conflict the allegation that he is a deserter. Never. But, Megyn, if I just may, this is an example of a very deep cultural divide between Team Obama that knows nothing about the military and cares less, and those who actually serve. And I think when you really listen to Susan Rice and Obama, I mean, they think that desertion is kind of like skipping class. You know, you're hungover Monday morning, so you don't want to get up and go to Gender 101. It is the second gravest sin in the military catechism, right behind turning your weapon on your brother soldiers. I mean, I cannot begin to communicate how deeply the military feels about deserters. And one last point, please. I am sick of hearing people, even on Fox, instant experts who never served in their military, saying, well, we always went after our deserters and our troops and bring them home, even if they're deserters. Megan, throughout much of our history, we did go after deserters. And when we got them, we shot them or hanged them. Or if we were in a good mood, we would brand them with a D on their cheeks or forehead. When we became enlightened in the 20th century, we still shot some, but we always sent them to prison and hard labor. So this is not a minor offense. Desertion is very, very grave, and Team Obama just doesn't get it.
Let's talk about their expectations, because the news reports today are that they were expecting euphoria at the announcement of Bo Bergdahl's return. How did they get to the point of expecting that, Ralph, when this man is very controversial? His own platoon mates, I have yet to hear one come out and say anything in his defense.
Well, obviously, it's clear that Obama's the emperor, and nobody wants to tell the emperor he has no clothes. He's clearly getting bad feedback from his inner circle. They've closed the ranks against the outer world. But again, they just don't understand our military. I really believe that Team Obama thought that bringing Bo Bergdahl home at any price was going to result in a repetition of the celebrations when it was announced that we got Osama bin Laden, that there'd be frat boys from GW and University in Washington jumping up and down in front of the White House. They totally misread the American public and deeply misread our military. Now, I don't really think all these angry soldiers want to lynch Bo Bergdahl. I think
and they say that. They say they don't want him being called a hero. And I think they took exception to Susan Rice saying he served with honor and distinction. The two guys on our program last night said, no, he didn't. And some have pushed back a little, Ralph, on the ceremony we saw in the Rose Garden, where his father, speaking in Pashto, the language of the Taliban, was praising Allah and closing out with Amin next to the President of the United States.
Yeah, well, you know, Mr. Bergdahl's beard is not a tribute to ZZ Top. It's just sad. And that offended me, and it offended every soldier, I'm sure, and our service members, because Obama, during the VA scandal, he didn't host the survivors of people died in the VA system waiting for care. And if he had wanted to really honor our troops, instead of having Mr. and Mrs. Bergdahl, the father and mother of an alleged deserter, and celebrating them, giving them more attention than he's given to any military family, he should have had at the White House the families of the at least 6 soldiers who died searching for and trying to free Bo Bergdahl. I mean, the president, he disdains our troops. He uses them as political props and then does something like this. And oh, by the way, what's the price of getting Private Bergdahl back? We released 5 of the most dangerous terrorists in the world.
We're going to talk to more about these troops. I mean, the president, you know, to say he disdains the troops, Ralph, is so controversial. But what he did here is also very controversial. More with you in a minute. Thank you for being here. And also, coming up on Thursday, in a Kelly File exclusive, 6 members of Sergeant Bo Bergdahl's platoon will be with me live right here in New York to talk about what happened on that day back in June of 2009 and answer the question, is Bergdahl a deserter or a traitor, possibly? Will anyone defend him? You'll see that only here.